Hello, good morning. Today, in this episode, I'm going to talk about the most important aspect of this application. And everything in this application will surround this very topic that I'm going to be talking about. In the first and second episode, I mentioned it. In the third episode, I also mentioned it. And now I'm going to actually demonstrate it more clearly than ever before. And it is about how to insert questions, insert answer options, edit the questions or edit the answers options, and make the questions ready for examination or for assessment. In the same episode, if God permits, I will also talk about where to assess the responses of the assessment, the marks, that is the mark of the assessment, and how to make remarks on the responses, and then even create graph out of the responses. So permit me to enter the URL and we'll start. Okay. Okay, so at this junction, I want to put my user name and password, and I'll sign in. From this environment, the first place I need to go to is assessment test. So here's the assessment test. From this environment, I will now go and create new questions. Then before I create a new question, let me remind you. Normally, you need to go to competence and create a competence module or a competence subject. So these are the others, the previous subject we've created, like computer 1, a behavioral competency, and automation competency. So I would like to create another competency, a kind of new subject that I will work on as we move along. So we'll use that one as an example, in addition with other competency subject that we have created here, as you can see. So in this column, I'm going to type what to call knowledge. Let me see, knowledge and skills competency. So that is it. So I'm going to describe this module. Describe the basic knowledge that a cataloger so have or purchase, and the skills now must be demonstrated. Okay, so I'm going to click on submit, and here's the module and here's the description. As I told you, I can also edit what I have typed here if I wish to edit by clicking on this edit, something that look like pencil here. So you see automatically the same thing has come here, so I can even try to see why. Okay, so I can adjust and I can remove whatever I want to remove, like putting full stop, and resubmit again. So from here you go to assessment test, and then you go to new questions, and then in this new questions entry you click here and you select the module, and I can see question number 1. Do you have knowledge about AACR2 and what make it different from RDA? So the next thing I need to do is to click on save, and I'm going to give the answer option here. Yes, I know. No, I do not know. Yes, I have no answer. These are the 3 options, 3 answer options, and the value we are going to assign to this is going to be like 3 for all the questions in this, for all the questions, for all the correct answers in this, under this question, all the questions we are going to be creating here. The scores that we expect them to have can vary, can be 3, can be 2, can be also. We save, and then we'll close it completely for now, and then we'll go back here and select the module in order for us to create the question. So I'm going to try to create up to like 10 questions or 7 questions and say, okay, so I can now say what is the full meaning of AACR2. So now I click save. So I can say AACR2 means American African cataloging rule 2. Okay, like I say second edition. I can say Anglo African cataloging rule number 2. I say Anglo American cataloging rule second edition. I can see American Anglo classification. Rule number 2. So these are the options. There's one mistake I make. I would like to go back and quickly correct it. So, but let me quickly run this one. So the answer to this one will still be 3. Or let me say the answer to this one is 2. And I'm supposed to select the right answer. Anglo-American Cataloging Rules, 2nd edition. Let's assume this one is the correct answer. And I click on save. I can now go back and close. Now, I want to make one good correction before I go back. So, by the time I go back to this competency, and I scroll down, I want to make correction on the one I've just done. And I think that's why this error is appearing, because of the mistake I make. So I want to edit and select the answer maybe. So, and put the questions here and save, and then click on close. I think by the time I check again, I should be able to see that the error has been corrected. You can see that because I did not select the right answer, so that was the mistake I made. So let me go back to new questions again, because I want to add more questions. And so the next question I'm going to be adding is what is RDA in the context of that is okay. So click on save. The answers is going to be radius, description, access, and it's going to be resources, description, access. Then it's going to be resource, descriptions, and access, and it's going to be release digital access. And let's assume I select the correct answer, resources, description, access. Now I'm going to assign the correct answer. Let's assume the answer is going to be 5. And I'm going to save. I'll close again. Let me add another additional question by selecting the module. I'm working on the knowledge and skill module, and I can see what is in organizing library which of the two activity take place first. So of the following to actually take place first. Then I save. Number one is going to be cataloging before classification. Classification and cataloging. At the same time, none of the answers. That's correct. So maybe the right answer is this, or let's assume the right answer is this, and the value is going to be 2. So I'll close, and then I'll select again. I think I'll have up to like 5 and then stop there. So the next question I'm going to be asking is between Library of Congress and Dewey, Decimal Scheme, which is more mostly used in academic libraries in Nigeria. So sorry. So it is Lab of Congress. It is DOA. So let's assume the right answer is going to be this. The score is going to be maybe this, and I click on save. I'm going to close. So I want to believe that. Sorry, I just went outside to cough. So let me check the number of questions that we have now by clicking on this assessment test, and I come here and can now select this. So we have up to like 5 questions now, and as I told you from the beginning, each question has its own specific score value attached to it. You can edit any questions. You can click on this edit, and you want to like change the score or you want to change the answer, you see, or you want to change the sentence, or you want to remove any of these answers and add another one, or you want to close. So you can still go there and select, and then you see what changes you've made. I actually did not make any change, and then sorry, you can keep on adding questions. If you want to add questions, you can click here again, and this is where we were adding questions, and I don't want to add another additional questions again. So now what I need to do now is, since I click here, I want to see that these are you can see that all the questions that have been added to all the modules that are here. All these modules that are here, they are assembled here. And if you can see the number here, go to page 2. You see these are the remaining questions. So you can go to page 1. You can see in totality the number of questions. There are 16 of them that have been asked, and all of them divided among all these objects. And you can even click here to see up to 100 questions. Let's assume I click here, all of them will be displayed. There's no need for you to see whether the question goes to be number 2 or not. So by this value, this text we are seeing, this is the subject. They are repeated because for each, these are all the questions that are there and all their values. So you can edit any of them depending. Once you see this statement here, you know this is the subject. There's the subject that have been, or module as you may call it. The next thing we need to do now is to prepare these questions and the answers that we have done now, so that it will become available for testing or for examination. So as I told you, always go here, and this is where you go, test questions. This is where you add new questions, and here is where we are going to do what we just said. Now you see that among these 3 modules or 3 subjects, the one we just finished now is not available here yet. And so since it's not available here yet, we have to make sure it's available. And so what do? We need to add the test questions, you see. So by clicking here, and we are brought here. Let me repeat again so that you understand. You click here, you go to test questions this time around. So you click, and then you add the test questions, and then you are brought here. Now this is what we are going to do. You come here and select the subject, and then the total number of questions we have asked is 5. And let's assume we want to allow only 2 minutes or 3 minutes, depending on 10 minutes. Let's assume we want to allow only 2 minutes, because whatever you enter here will determine a minute. And here we want to say, click on this environment, just click, and then first start typing answer all questions. You must type, none of this column, you must make sure you type something and then you save. You can also see that new functions now have appeared. So these are all the 5 of them. If there are many, they will split to next page. You can see this page 1. So I told you before, so you click on this one to select all of them, and you click on this one. You see 2 things you have just clicked. Here you might decide to click them one after, or just one at a time. But if you click on this number 1 on this row, it will highlight all of them. So I would like to show you something at the end of the day, but let me finish here. Then you go straight here and click on save. So if you look at it, all these questions have been highlighted. So you have to do one thing finally. Click on this place and click on submit. Okay, immediately you submit, you are finished with it. So if you go back here and you go back to test questions, you find out that it's now added among them. It's now available. You can see this the number of questions that are here. Nobody have attempted it yet. No cataloger or student have answered any questions yet. And then you can still click on this place to edit it if you wish to. You'll be taken back here. You can see they are here. So let's go back there. That's how to make it available. And then at this junction, if you want to make all these tests available to students or the catalogers, you just need to click in at this front of all of them. And let me show you an example to see how they are going to be available, and I will remove one or two to see how they are going to be disappearing from the page of the cataloger. So let me click on this number 1, done that. Let me click on this number 2, I've done that. Let me click on this number 3, I've done that. And finally, let me click on this number 4, I've done that. Okay, let me use another browser now, another browser to log in as a cataloger, and you see that all these questions will be available to me. So let me use this time around. Let me use this Microsoft Edge. So I'm going to go to click on cataloger and I'm going to sign in. I've signed in, so you see all the questions are available here to me. So if I click on anyone, this is even the last one I added. So the cataloger can start attempting to answer the question. So let me show you something, what I wanted to say. Let's assume that I don't want this question to be available, and I don't want this question number behavioral competency to be available. So now I have disabled 2 or removed 2 questions. Now if I go back to the cataloging section and I refresh, you find that 2 of them have left and they are no longer available to the test, to the student. You should remember that if a student has attempted the question, even if the question is available, if the examination is available to the student and the student has already taken the test, the student can no longer take the test again until you remove his paper, you remove his responses or from the examination site before you can attend. Like for example, now I click on this and I click on this. The test is now available to me to take the test. Let's assume that I want to start answering the questions now. Maybe the answer is this. Maybe the answer is this. Maybe I jump this one. Student may jump this one. And maybe the answer is this. And maybe the answer is this. I'm just taking the answer that I think is the correct answer, and I can now go and submit. If you do not submit, and the time elapses, the examination will submit for you. But I'm going to test this side of not submitting even before the answer reaches. Let me see how this option will behave. I just have less than 10 seconds now. So let's assume that I'm just playing around as a student and struggling to answer the questions. And you see automatically the computer has submitted for me because my answer has elapsed. There's nothing I can do, and then I'm scored. I'm given my score based on the answers that I provided. And if I want to take the test again, the computer will tell me that I have taken the test. Now let me tell you the responses I want to give you. Let's assume that the the examination is not even available to me for now, or to any other student. Let's assume I refresh, and I'm coming. So sorry, I'm going to remove all of them. I just enable them again. Let's assume that I don't want the questions to be available to any student, and now no question is available to me either. So, and there's nothing for me to click as a cataloger. Let's assume that another student is going to be giving the questions, and fortunately or unfortunately I'm online and I want to take the test, and just I try to attempt to take the test. The computer will tell me that I've already taken the test, so there's no need for me to take the test again. It will only be available for another student who has not taken the test to take the test. So now that is all about this one. So now you can also put off the questions, and then nobody will see it. You can always put on the question when you want the student or any other student to see the question, the examination online. Okay, so now, but how do I see? I told you I want to show how do I see the response of the last student or the student that have just been examined. So what I need to do now is to click on feedback result, and then you can see that I took the test. This is the test that I just took now. The time allowed is 1 minute. You know, the number of questions available there are 5, and the score that I got is 8. So it's like the 10 questions, each one is assigned 2 marks, and I got 4 that I just did. And if you want the student to take it again, what simply need to do is to delete it completely. That means that the examination will be deleted for the student. And if you want it to delete for all the students, you just keep on deleting make sure you are targeting the kind of exam that the student writes. They can be 100, they can be 10, they can be 50. Just take your time, and then you can use this one to filter out the student. You understand? So so that is it, and then you just delete it. Let's assume that I want to delete this one for you to see how possible it will be now for the student to take it. Let's assume I have deleted the test. It means that the student has no score here. If I go back here and I enable this test for that student, and let's assume the student is still online. This is the student, and the student refreshes. You see that the test is available for me again. I can click, that is the student can click, start the test, and the test will start again for the student. Let's assume I'm going to be selecting A, and see what the student is going to get again as the answer. This time around, student quickly, having seen the question before, maybe he's very familiar with it, quickly answer, and then submit by himself. So you are one if you want to submit. Finally, I've submitted, and the question decided to get 4/10 because the student selected what the answers that the student consider are appropriate. And then if you click again, you can't take the test again because you've already taken it. So let's assume I want to see what the student has scored again. You can see the student just scored 4, even far below what the student got before. And that's all about it. Now you may want to give remark on the performance of the student, and then you have to know the ID of the student, and this is the student. Based on this, based on the examination that the person just took. So You just click on this, click to remark, and then here you now give a remark. This is the student name or ID, this is the score, this is the time the person just did the test, and then you can now, as a cataloger, you can now come here and look at what the person did. You can see it's actually awareness, and then you apply. You will now find out the student has been, so you can further use this information to decide what the student needs to do. Or the person needs to take the test again, or the person needs to be retrained, or the person needs to be taken to another department, depending on whatever kind of decision that the management will make based on the performance of all the students here. So that is all about it. So you have seen where all the catalogers are registered. You have seen where to create the subject or the module. You have seen where to create new questions by clicking on this one. Then for the module for the subject, you have seen here where to assign, where to prepare the questions for it to be available to the student, and you have seen how to, even from that environment, how to prepare new questions for each subject, and then follow the process of saving, and then you add the answer options. Then you have finally seen where the responses are assembled for all the participants in the test, and you have seen where to create, where to assign, where to make remark on the performance of the student. And finally, I told I'm going to show the graph. So let's assume it's here. I want to show the graph. So here now I can click on CSV and open in Excel, and then this is what I want to make. This is the name of the student, the staff, this column. Let me make it large by clicking on this place, and I will go up here to format, and I click on auto column width so that it becomes clear for me to see. So I want to create graph based on, this is the test, and this is the competency, and this is the student ID. So competency module, and this I want to create test based on this. So I'm going to copy this one. Let's assume I put it here first, and copy this one. This here. Sorry. It's here. And copy here. So I have this third column. You can highlight the third column and go to graph, insert graph. This is graph chart. Let's assume I accept this one. So though all my names are the same, let's assume this person is a different person, maybe this one. You can see the performance level. You can do more things to this graph. So now that's all about it. You can see who perform more than the other, and that is all about this. So let me minimize this. I hope you enjoyed this training. So this should be the last training, or the last episode. So if there's any other questions you want to ask me, you can ask much later on. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.